How did you overcome that tragedy in your life? What were the steps you took? Today, our speaker is going to share the path he discovered since being asked that question hundreds of times since his amputation. Please help me welcome Mr. John Register.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a wonderful morning to be here. With the questions that Craig just asked you, have you ever gone through some type of a tragedy, a hard time, a rough time in your life? You get through it, and at the other end of it, somebody says, how did you do it? How did you get over it? I mean, you just may have just come through something. What might have experienced that you may have had, that you went through, a challenging time in your life? And from that time, what you learn from it? And how do you share that opportunity with others? Most of the time, I find that people just are at the surface level. It was my faith, my family, my friendships that helped me get through it. But as I celebrated 25 years of being an amputee last year, I found that many people were asking me this question hundreds of times over and over again. How did you overcome it? How did you get past it? And I found what they were asking, the real question was, how did you overcome the amputation of your left leg? But that wasn't the answer. That wasn't the question that I was asking myself. Because on May 17th, 1994, when I went across a hurdle during a training session at 5:30 in the afternoon, at 5:29, I was the 8th fastest hurdler in the country, top 20 in the world. And at 5:30, I was on my back, would never run a hurdle again. And from there began this whole process of overcoming what we call adversity. But I discovered it wasn't the amputation of my left leg that I overcame. I mean, I went on and found out through a new normal mindset that I could actually do things again and create this new normal mindset and move forward, making a Paralympic team in 1996 for swimming and then going on to win the silver medal in the long jump in Sydney, Australia. But how did I overcome it? How did I get over it? Most of the time, we think we get over it, as I said earlier, by our faith, our families, our friendships. But that's the surface level. If I tell you, during that tragic time, on that track, in breathing in pain, that I was going to be a silver medalist, it was just too far to even see. But knowing that and hearing that brief story, how do you, non-rhetorical question, how do you think I got over it? What do you think? What's in your mind?
Your tenacity and your resilience.
Tenacity and resilience, sure, absolutely.
Acceptance.
Acceptance, for sure.
Surrender.
Surrender, yes. What do you think I was getting over?
Fear.
Fear, absolutely. Who said that? Absolutely, fear. Fear, what's your name?
Brian.
Brian, thank you for sharing that. Yes, in resilience, I'm thinking that resilience is one of the things I have to have. It has to be a part of me because our character is defined by who we are when no one's watching, what we stand for when everyone is watching, but our character is revealed during our time of testing, and that's kind of the core resilience that we have. But it's that fear. The fear of what? And as I began to unpack it, it wasn't the amputation of my left leg, it was my fear. That was the first tier I was overcoming. Fear of myself. Is my wife Alice going to stick around? Is my son still going to see me as his father? Do I still have a job in the United States Army? Can I support my family? Because my Olympic dreams are over. But there's also fear of others. Other people believing for me what I could or could not do, which was based on what they believed they could or could not do if they were the amputee. And finally, societal fears. Who had I listened to in society that made me believe my fears in the first place? Was when I watched a Walt Disney movie, I see Captain Hook. Captain Hook's an amputee. And I'm 6 years old, he's dark, he's scary. But now I associate myself being an amputee with Captain Hook, and I'm dark and scary now, and I'm scaring kids. When I go down to Brooke Army Medical Center and I see the burn victims at Brooke Army Medical Center and our armed forces, and burned over 90% of their bodies. They now sit across from their families and see themselves in this Nightmare on Elm Street because we said Freddy Krueger shows up in your children's dreams. What fears do we tell ourselves and what fears do we believe? So that was number one. What else do you think? Yes?
Anger.
Anger, yeah. A little bit of anger that was there. Why did I do this? I could have been in Germany when I was training there, training by Carlite. So I'm very thankful that I wasn't, because I was trained by Carlite, who could have been on the track there and been on the track and not had any type of medical support, right? So, but anger that I may have run that race and could have done better or done something different. Yeah, for sure. But from this fear, there's a pathway out. And I began to understand this over the course of this past 1 year. In 2019, I did a lot of digging after I left the United States Olympic Committee. I did a lot of listening. What I came out with was, from the fear, once we get past the fear, we think, as we'll notice in Colorado, we go up this false summit. We believe we're going to get it back. We believe we're going to rebuild our life. If I can just get it back, if I just get that relationship back, if I can just get myself back to this one moment in time, everything will be fine. We don't get those moments back. I don't get my leg back. And that's why I say I didn't overcome the amputation on my leg. What happens is, during this process, I'm still working, I'm rebuilding, and I think that I'm redefining myself to this other false existence that is gone now. But in this redefining moment, I'm redefining myself to the other people's opinions. So they are shaping who I am so they can be okay in their world. But there are a few others on the other side that I might be shaping myself toward. Individuals that have already overcome those adversities. And as I'm wrestling with myself in this redefining moment, how then do I release from it? Because whether it takes 3 minutes, 3 hours, or 30 years, I will make a decision in that redefining moment to choose what it is I will amputate to create my new normal existence. And once I make that decision to either go back to my fears or to move forward into my rebirthing, because this rebirth is where I want to be, it's a total new track for me. No longer am I thinking about this rebuilding part of the life. That's why it's a false summit. It's actually a rebirth, because when I have an amputation, I don't know how to walk anymore. I have to relearn that. I don't know how to run. I have to relearn that. I have to relearn to exist in this new space. And that then causes, as I mature, a resolve. I become resolute in who I am. No longer will people define who I should be. I will be resolute and demand that they catch up to where I am right now. And that then equals our liberation, our freedom. We often think that freedom is for us. But the freedom actually is for us to be so strong that we now become one of those individuals that reaches back and helps somebody else overcome their fears. We get 5 individuals over here that can actually lift us up when we're the dumbest one in this bad 5, as I call it. But that gives us strength to reach back and pull a couple more to the other side. We can't reach back and pull 5, because then we're too equally yoked. We have to have those 5 individuals that can pull us up so we can reach back and pull a couple. We call this lifting as we climb. So as we think about that from your own standpoint, from your own life, and the fears that are inside of you, and what you struggle with, and you are holding on to, that you refuse to release or amputate to create that new normal mindset. What is it? Every corporation, every business, every association that I get a chance to be honored to talk to, we always start there, because there's always some nugget that is causing them fear and holding them to who they can actually become, so they can actually liberate others. Then that gives us a chance to win the medals in our own lives. Go forth and inspire your world.